When I was at GDC, must have been 2015, 16, I think it was 15. I was walking with a guy in the Amazon booth. We were walking together and we were talking. I just met him about an hour earlier, and we were talking about very different things. We were going to meet a friend of mine because I thought he should meet them. We were It was kind of just networking stuff, but we were kind of hanging out, and I introduced my friend, and my friend, we were talking about a game. I'm not going to name titles for obvious reasons, but and my friend was like, "Well, at least that game wasn't as bad as some other game." And the dude that I just met, kind of went quiet, and I didn't think any of it. I shook his hand. I said, "See you later." Hung out with my friend for a little bit. I found out later that the dude I was with was actually one of the lead developers on the game that my friend just installed. And imagine how it's got to feel, right? You're with somebody, and then they introduce you to somebody that just shits on your work. Like, that's got to feel like shit. And like, I felt bad. I emailed him and I apologized, and uh, it is what it is. But the moral of the story is that we are a game development community. And if you talk shit about games in a sea of game developers, you're going to talk shit about somebody's game. And whether that person is there or not to hear you talk shit about it, you still can hurt some feelings. You don't want people talking shit about your game. Don't talk shit about other people's game. And like, I'm guilty of this too, right? Especially with AAA titles. I tend to criticize some games that I feel strongly about. And I've just been trying to kind of stop myself from doing that, because I realize now, especially with the YouTube channel and all that, some of the things I say, they matter, right? Like, and you may not think that your comment will be seen by anybody, but you'd be surprised at how many developers and designers and artists and all those stuff of various games on the internet have Google alerts for their game's name, or look at stats, or look stuff up, or watch videos about it, or watch content, or read comments. And, it doesn't do anything. Talking shit about another game doesn't do anything. And literally, there are people that spent their heart and their soul trying to make this thing good. And you may hate it, and that's completely okay. That's 100% fine. Doesn't mean you should shit on it. Doesn't mean that you should talk shit about it. It blows my mind this happens at GDC, because like, I would expect it there, but it still surprises me that in a community of game developers, people will talk shit about other people's games. They will tear them down. They will say what's wrong with them. They'll tell them why it's bad. And this is different than feedback, right? This is different than constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like this part, maybe you should change this, or maybe you should, offering feedback to the developer. But just completely talking shit and unsolicited feedback too, I don't think is a good positive thing. Most of the time people give unsolicited feedback, it's either negative or it's just unwanted, right? Like, if you want to give somebody feedback, ask them, do you want my feedback? It's easy as that, right? People have asked me before, Tim, do you want my feedback? And I say, no, I really don't, to be honest. I don't. I've had to adapt this. I use this with various people in my life, not just game development. Someone will tell me something, or they'll show me something, a piece of art they made, a song they made, something they created, and I'll ask them, do you want my feedback? Yes or no? And if they say no, that's cool. Good job. I appreciate you creating this thing. If they say yes, tell them something I like about it, and I tell them something I dislike about it. That way it balances out the negativity and it still gives them something valuable. There is a time and a place and a way to communicate to help other people improve. There is no time or no place to talk shit about other people's creations. Whether or not you like it, whether or not that you should change, whether or not it's the most piece of shit thing on the planet Earth, somebody worked hard on that. And they put a piece of them into this creation. And you shouldn't shit on it. We need to encourage more people in the industry, not discourage them. And all talking shit about games does is discourage people. And we have enough discouragement going around. It's hard enough to start a game and finish it and market it and do all this stuff. We don't need people discouraging other people. So this is my plea to you, to all of the community. Let's, as a community, not talk shit about other people's games. Let's just not. If we want to give feedback, make sure it's wanted, make sure it's solicited. Otherwise, it doesn't really need to be said. And that's all I got. So leave me your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading, but it's really simple. And I hope I can change some minds here, because that's what I really want to do. So my name is Tim Roswick, and I'll see you tomorrow.